And we plan to be back to, let's say, 10, 20, 30 masajid, who knows, within a certain time. Because that's what we hope to do. That's what we're working to do. That's the difference between now and before. See, before, I could turn on a history program, a TV program, or this, that, and other. I was killing time. But I ain't killing no time now. I ain't killing time. I know what that means. That means you're focused on doing what you're doing, and it's all over. They just, only way they can stop you is they can come and blow you away. Other than that, they can't stop you because you're focused. Or you make them so ridiculous looking, like now. Imagine all the stuff that's happened now. Just imagine. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's insanity, right? And everybody see it. It ain't no, oh, I didn't see that one. It ain't like that. Everybody see it. Everybody know it. So back to the subject of La Tatraba. It's on family, sons, no reproach. Everybody might as well call it a partner. One of the things, Tatraba is a partner. Everybody's partner. Everybody from now is partner. You got a partner. You do what you want to do from now on, it don't make me no difference. But from now on, you have a partner. Everybody has a partner. Not only family and friends, but the collaborators. If we want to re-energize the Islamic movement in North America, the African American Islamic movement in North America, we're going to have to be doing it with African Americans. Right? Simple as that. That's one thing that we like. We put everything on elementary level. Therefore, if that's true, then we have to overlook them too. La Tatraba. Whether it's Siraj, whether it's Zaid Shaka, whether, I don't care, Sherman, don't care. So you guys was in those meetings and you knew you was trying to isolate me and cut me off? Now we're in the same boat. La Tatraba. No reproach, no animosity, no nothing. Good handshakes, good hugs, and let's rebuild this community. It's our birthright. We've been saying this ever since we've been here. That's our birthright. If we don't do it, there won't be the Islamic movement in North America will be a whippified unbelievable. It'll be what it is now. People, one thing about it, the white man scared the Muslims so much that it brought them all out of the house. You know what I mean? It brought them out in numbers. You see them, boy, look at here. Everywhere you go, they done increased everything. But because in fear, they feel that the numbers, we got to get out. I bet you half of them starting to read Quran and all kind of stuff. They just won't do no fighting. And I mean not physical fighting. College of Islamic Movement studies strategic management under conditions of repression. Department of Strategic and Islamic Studies. The Department of Strategic and, yes, right. College of Islamic Movement Studies. Department of Strategic and Islamic. They got all these departments in every other university. Why we don't have one? Right? Well, we study them. We do study them, and we've done a good job. There's no doubt about it. We've done a good job, and being here is the proof of it. It's just the proof of it. It's not arrogance, but because we're here, we have done a good job. We'll move toward a close with some of the statements. This is our original idea right here. Nonviolent Islamic resistance. Nonviolent resistance, 21st century style. Okay. Our view of nonviolent resistance, Our view of nonviolent resistance is alternative resistance. We got right here. I could read a little bit about this from the church. Letters of introduction to DC area churches. We go on down and we say, the threats that loom over us today are much greater than ever. We believe that the hope for the future lies in religion. We believe that God has placed us in this position at this time to rescue humanity from humanity. It is clear that the only existing institutions with the capability of taking on such a task are those that are God-centered and mission-oriented. That is, namely the church and the Masjid. Throughout history, when mankind strayed so far from God, the men of God, such as Moses, Jesus Christ, and Muhammad, peace be upon them all, called them to repentance and salvation in Christianity and Shahada, or witnessing, in Islam. Unlike other ideologies and programs, which often limit themselves to the sphere of human existence, religious institutions provide all the encompassing program for individual and collective progress and improvement. They are gifted with all the necessary assets to carry out the great mission of saving humanity. A belief system, vision, and values which emanate from faith in God, righteousness, goodness, and kindness to neighbors. Through this strong foundation, all of that what is good and wholesome for mankind is worked toward, and boundaries are given by God to and established by Him. B, the organizational structure, this is religion. So it has the belief system to do this, but it also has the organizational structure which provides a framework and lays out the process of realizing these high ideals. C, and of course, they dedicate individuals and material resources that can translate great spiritual principles and values in action. Simply, this means this. The church and the Masjid, let's include the synagogue, because Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be upon them all. Imagine the religions. See, in the beginning time, way back, there was no social, the government didn't have, the king didn't have social programs. Right? Yeah. The religion did. The religion took care of all social programs. The Jews used to have what's called gleaning. Gleaning means you plant the whole crop like this. But you can't harvest the corners. See these corners? You can't harvest the corners. That's called gleaning. That's where that word gleaning comes from. The poor people can come out and they can get their substance from harvesting these corners. The corners, the corners. You see what I mean? That was a social program. So in today's world, we have religion that has values, vision, and good ideas. Righteousness, goodness, kindness to neighbors, all of that. Organizational structure. Just imagine the Masjid, the churches and synagogues working in harmony to do good. Imagine, God forbid, the preachers getting out of them BMWs and stopping all that fancy chit-chat and making a glorious harmony to God. They go out and do work that Jesus did. Jesus was with who? The poor, the needy, the downtrodden, right? Suppose the preachers do that. When I tell my friends that, they look at me like, man, I didn't do this to do that. I kind of got to be hooked up. But suppose they did. That's who we calling on. Suppose we get a small percentage, and pretty soon it gains power. They have the ideology. They have the values. The organizational strength. In D.C., 10 tertiaries are going to take up opiates. Another 10 are going to take up homelessness. The people are going to live temporarily in the church. That's what it's for. What do you think the church just... Do you think the people in the church want those poor people coming in amongst them, bringing in fleas and all of that? Heck no. Getting on there all on their new hat and their new clothes and Easter and carrying on. They don't want that. You got to teach them that. We're Christians. Do you think the imams and the other Muslims want to see all of them homeless people? Yeah, I'm a homeless brother. Bilal is the name. Well, you don't need no home here. The masjid is not for that. Well, Ali Sufa, the people live upstairs in the masjid in Medina. That's where Abu Hurairah and all of them live. Right? So what are you talking about? Well, we got to lock up such a time because we just can't do all of that. So, nonviolent resistance 21st century means transition, transformation, and transcendence. That's what it means. It means that we build our own institutions. I put it this way, very flatly. The human being has to solve the problems of the world. The human being made the problems. The human being has to solve them. And the first thing would have to be cutting back on consumerism, and production, and all that stuff. We're overproducing. We're producing stuff you don't need. We haven't been needy for over 100 years. That's right. Good God Almighty. That's what it was. Edward Bernays, 100 years ago, started teaching on wants and not needs. Wants and not needs. And he had women smoking cigarettes and all kind of stuff. You see, because before we bought something when we needed it. Now, all of us have 50 pairs of clothes. But before, there was one time when we had 2 pairs of clothes, one for Sunday and one for work. Okay, then we kind of got a little, 3, 4 pairs. When we got school shoes, we got 1 pair of shoes for that whole period. We got 1 pair of shoes. Okay? I'm not saying we have to go that far, but we don't need 10 pair of shoes or 12. You know, my kids, my sons, about 25 years ago, 30 years ago, man, it's 35 years ago. They would buy these expensive t-shirts with Guess and whatever, all that on them. They would wear them once maybe, and then they would throw them away. I got all my clothes, all the feline coats. I took one of my son's feline coat and I washed it. He said, Dad, you washed all the puff out of it. It was puff stuff. I said, I didn't know. He said, you keep it now. The puff is gone. The puff, it wasn't gone, but it wasn't puffy like it was. I said, hey, show. We consume too much unnecessary. It's just the consumption. I believe we could get by on 1/5 of what we, easy, that's just a start with. And I don't believe we need to produce no more clothing for the next 10 years till we use this up. No more cars till we use them up. Just stop production. Let the earth clean itself up. Give it 15 years or so. Visualize what do we want this earth to look like in 15 to 20 years. And start working toward that. And make sure that the rich do not keep wealth enough to fight against it, because those are the ones that would fight against a new world order. For them, yeah, we can have a new world as long as we keep getting all the money. That's their new worldism. They believe in it. They believe in new worldism, but they believe, how do we adjust it so we still get all the money? Can you imagine people with billions of dollars if they don't have enough money, or $1 trillion? It's insanity. The bigger, the richer these people get, the middle income is shrinking and the poor is growing. That's the way the world is. So we have to fix that. So, remember, no reproach. This idea about what we can do and what we can do this. Not only we can do it, we must do it. So we have to dramatize our own story. And we have to make it, we have to avoid a lockdown. They're getting ready to lock the whole world down. We have to avoid that. The only way we can avoid that is we can get together as human